Feels like this is only the beginning of my true resurrection.
Arriving on a nightmare, praying for a dream.
True resurrection.
So I finished reading another book, and it's an older book. It's not as old as I thought it was, though. I thought it was 80s, 90s, and it turns out it was made in 2000, like 20 years old. It's 20 years ago. Holy shit. Forgive the background. I'm in the middle of renovating. I had problems with my audio. I had problems with my video, and for a while there I was making videos without visual representation because I was struggling to get shit in order. The Redemption of Sarah Cain by Beverly Lewis is kind of a mess. I don't know where to start. But I guess I'll start with a plot. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. And the movie takes a different direction with it. Cain is about Sarah Cain. I think she's a real estate broker. She gets word that her sister passed away. And her sister had kind of been at odds since her sister moved to Amish country with her husband. You know, they wrote letters back and forth. So her sister's name is Ivy. Ivy's eldest daughter is named Lydia. Lydia is actually the one who called Sarah and let her know. And she asked her, "Are you coming to the funeral?" Sarah is like, "No." And I'm like,
What the fuck?
"It is your sister. Even if you were on the worst of terms, why wouldn't you go to the funeral?" But she kind of plays it off like she doesn't have time.
Can't relate.
Her work's getting in the way. It just doesn't make any sense. So that was the first red flag for me. The lawyer that handled Ivy's last will and testament calls her and is like, "You need to come down here because she left something for you. It's kind of important." Once again, Sarah is like, "I can't get off work." But she did have it in the back of her mind that her sister might have left her 5 children for her to take care of, you know, as a guardian, because clearly you're not going to raise them. But she goes down there, and sure enough, the lawyer is like, "Hey, you were listed as the guardian for these children." Sarah's like, "I'm not taking them."
Denied.
Sarah's completely gung-ho on just pawning off these kids on the first person that will take them. This was a huge problem for me because she is made to be so callous and so cold. In one of Ivy's diary entries, I actually skipped the diary entries because they were inconsequential. They didn't add anything to the plot. They didn't add anything to the characters, except for maybe Ivy's character. They just presented more mystery where there isn't really any explanation. More plot holes where there's no connection. So I skipped the diary entries. What I've learned, usually it's made up for in exposition following. It'll like bring up the topic of what the diary entry was going on about, and there was no expansion, so I'm like, well, fine, I'm just not going to read the diary entries. So Sarah decides to stay with them until she figures out what she's going to do. Lydia is freaking out because she's thinking that her brothers and sisters are either going to be taken away to Seattle, or they're going to be put in the system and split up. She's trying to find an Amish woman within the community to take her and her brothers and her sisters. Her one sister is presented as almost being schizophrenic, or at the very, very least, mentally traumatized. And it really doesn't sound like it would be the parents' death. It could have been, but there was no expansion on that. There was no real explanation. It was just like, oh, she's mentally fucked up. And then they just kind of drop it. Sarah's the only one that like sees this and is like, she needs a shrink. Lydia naturally is like, Amish don't do head doctors. Amish just fucking deal. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But Sarah makes it sound like she wants to reach out to the girl who has these problems, Anime, and she doesn't do anything about it. She doesn't go out to talk to her. She doesn't take her out for like lunch or really have any quality time with any of these characters. And that was one of my biggest problem is in the movie, she kind of they're given this sort of relationship with each one of the characters. She has at least a moment. Everyone in the movie had an excellent arc, and it all peaked to like a breaking point. There's none of that in the book. And they're kind of just like shells. Like they've got quirks and they've got things about them that make them different, but don't necessarily make them people. The oldest son in the movie has an argument with the oldest daughter because the oldest daughter is acting like everything's on her shoulders, and he's just basically telling her, "You're not." The book doesn't really do that. The book kind of just pushes him off to the side. It just pushes everybody to the side. The only real characters we're paying attention to are Lydia and Sarah. Lydia goes to one woman, Miriam, and she figures that she's going to be the best alternative mother figure to take these kids in without separating them and without taking them away from the Amish community. Miriam, after so many pages and chapters of just explicitly avoiding not only Lydia, but also avoiding Sarah's approach. Lydia finally confronts her and is like, yo, what's up? And Miriam is like, your mother came to me, and your mother and I were very close. Basically told Lydia that Ivy came to her with things that she didn't even go to her best friend with, explicitly asking Miriam to make sure that her children were not separated, but not necessarily that she had to take them in. And it's implied that Ivy knew what she was doing when she requested her sister come down to watch the kids. Her sister used to be a teacher until an accident. I still don't know what the hell happened, but it's something that's brought up again and again and again through letters, through diary entries, and through exposition, and I still don't know what happened. It doesn't matter. It's like it was meant to present Sarah with this dark past and this traumatic event that drastically changed her mind, but we're not given an explanation as to why or even what the hell happened. As if, like, our judgment is going to be too much for this character to handle. So Miriam explicitly tells Lydia she's not going to take her in because she believes that Sarah is the best choice, that Ivy knew what she was doing in bringing her sister all the way down here. Through letters, Ivy has told Sarah, like, I know that you're good with kids, you used to teach, I used to watch you with kids, blah, blah, blah. But Sarah, 1 minute, wants to pawn off all of these kids and just get rid of them. And then she actually has the audacity to lecture Lydia on Amish courtship when she hasn't done any research. She hasn't looked into anything as far as Amish tradition and culture and customs are when it comes to literally anything. You have the internet and you have the resources to be able to look into this stuff. Not only that, but your sister was a part of this community. If you were so against it from the beginning, wouldn't you actually want to look into it some more? Wouldn't you want, like, I don't know, something to tell your sister before just shunning her yourself? Because that's basically what happened. Oh, the irony. Through exposition, it's made clear that Sarah does not think that certain things that Lydia is doing that are Amish dating customs are not very appropriate. It's not very whatever, and she just doesn't like it. She pulls up this mother figure out of nowhere when she's had no kids. She does not even know her nieces and nephews. She probably never even met them in her entire life. And Lydia's 16. I mean, they're gonna be dating. She's going to be... And it was like the most innocent thing, too. I think, like, her and her boyfriend at the time were just making out in the kitchen. It's awkward to walk in on, but it wouldn't be, it wasn't like you found them in bed together. They were kissing. And it would, like, catch you off guard, like, Lydia's just ashamed and everything, and she and Sarah get into a fight later, and basically just telling Sarah, like, you don't even love us, you don't even want us, you don't even care about us, and she storms out. Fully agree with Lydia at this point. Sarah's kind of a bitch. Proves my point further. Just, like, making this observation, like,
well, if she's gonna go upstairs sulking, I'm just gonna call my boyfriend and tell him that I need to be taken out and go to the club and get some drinks because this shit ain't working for me.
Are you fucking serious? 16-year-old girl is, is basically being told she might not have her own life, that everything she knows and everything she loves might be taken away from her because you can't make up your damn mind. Because you really don't care. You really don't like this character. It's like, how about a little bit of compassion? How about, a little bit of, oh, well, her mom just died, so yeah, she's going to be going through something. All of them are going to be going through something. They lost their father, like, I don't know, months or years prior. They're all orphaned. Now they're being told that they might not have their way of living anymore. They might be taken away. They might be split up. I'd be freaking out. And if I had an aunt that actually was just pretending to be the mother figure all of a sudden and tell me what's up when they don't know anything about my culture, my life, or my traditions, or anything, you bitch. The ultimate problem that I had with this book was the fact that it's one of those basic evangelistic, the only point of the story is that the main character gets saved. Usually there's an arc somewhere in there. Usually there's a point of realization. The person realizes their wrongs. They realize that they need to, they double back, basically. They need to fix things. They need to reorient their life. They need to reorient their priorities. This one just came out of nowhere. Her boyfriend, after refusing to take her clubbing and take her out to drinks, all of a sudden shows up on her doorstep and plays witness. And I'm confused because I'm like, this almost never works. Reality check. If somebody came on my doorstep and decided to play the Jehovah's Witness, I'm not going to listen. Because it's this blind ignorance. It's not like something that comes up naturally in conversation where two people are talking about something and it leads to a conversation about one person's beliefs and then another person's belief. Maybe that other person doesn't know what to believe. Maybe they're conflicted because they once believed but they had that traumatic past, that traumatic event that happened, and the other person can kind of steer them towards that direction. That would be more natural. And that's how you would properly do it. The evangelistic message is like the only message that there is. You have writers like Francine Rivers and Mindy Stearns-Clark and Ted Decker and Frank Peretti, and there are so much more that you can like do with stories and with ideas. Liz Curtis Higgs actually takes accounts from like the Old Testament and kind of like repackages them as like Scottish Highlander romantic like love triangles. Like you could get so creative with it, not just with Bible stories, but with like messages. In Redeeming Love, Francine Rivers took the entire book of like Hosea and basically repurposed it and repackaged it to make it a more convincing story, to make it more understandable for people. Take place in like the Old West, you know. It was amazing. And the reason I love Redeeming Love so much is because it's the only example I can think of that's actually taken a book not very, very well known from the Bible and done something completely beautiful and completely different with it, completely original. But a lot of these Amish books read the same. If you've read one, you've read them all. You know, there are different ways to accept that pure kind of lifestyle. But again, like these books don't really express that, and it's just the only message is that the person has to be saved, and that's kind of what happens at the end. But the way it happens is, boy. So after her lovely conversation with him, Sarah decides to go see Miriam, and basically ask her, like, why won't you take the kids off my hands? To which Miriam does a complete 180 and, I'll take the kids off your hands. And Sarah's just like, oh my god, thank you so much. That would really help me because now I can go back to work. I don't have to worry about the kids. I can just wash my hands completely of this whole thing. And on her way home, she has the revelation.
You guys are the nearest thing to family I've ever had.
Watch me fly.
She's saved. It's like literally dumped off the kids, and your biggest worry is just completely gone. So now I'll accept my Lord and Savior. This is really stupid. We never found out what happened with Anime's mental issues or even what they were. We never found out what the traumatic event is or how that affected Sarah or who it was or what. They mentioned a name, but I don't know what relation it is. I'm assuming it was a kid that she taught and the kid got in an accident when she wasn't looking. That's just piecing together context clues. We were never really given, you know, an answer as to why Brian suddenly had a change of heart, because one minute he's bitter that she had to go to her sister's funeral, of all things. Or no, not her sister's funeral. Her sister's last will and testament and reading. I'm that reader that I like to read everything. Anything and everything. I will try to read in every single genre. Even the genres that I hate, I will try to give a chance. But I'm that adventurous sort of reader that I don't let time barriers hold me back. Like the fact that this book is 20 years old. They have a different charm. They have a different writing style. I do kind of feel bad because I know that I come down like really hard. I want to try to like make it fun though. I don't want it to be me just complaining about how bad a book is. I do want to like offer positive feedback, but at the same time I want to make it fun. Backup is on BitChute. I will be uploading all my videos on that side also. I think that's all for this time.